Getting the Sega Mega Drive 2 bundled in with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and this all-in-one game cart, which I have mentioned many times before, is some of my favourite memories throughout the early to mid-90s, obviously before getting a PlayStation 1. And it also was excellent because pretty much everyone I knew back then, more often than not, had a Sega Mega Drive. Very few people had Super Nintendo. Not that there's anything wrong with Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo has some awesome games, but Mega Drive just seemed more accessible and the games were cheaper, I suppose. So there is that. But I just thought I'd chuck together a top 10 list of Sega Mega Drive games, which means something to me. These may not be the overall objective top 10 games on the Sega Mega Drive. They may not be even yours, but they are mine. But please, before I start, let me know down below what your top 10 Sega Mega Drive games are, and let's get straight into it. The first game is a bit of a weird one, but it is Columns. I do like me puzzle games, Bejeweled and that kind of stuff, Tetris and all that, but Columns was one of the games that was bundled in that 6 games in one cart, I think it was, or 8 games in one, whatever it was, and I played the ever-loving shit out of it. And Columns, the music itself is so nostalgic, it just takes me back to just playing it in those summers in the early 90s and on rainy days and stuff when you're not going out with your friends, because of course this was back in the day where only few games let you save on the cart, and they were mainly RPGs. You could of course get passwords for levels to continue on your progress, but for the most part, if you've lost your stuff, you're screwed. And we always tended to go out with friends all the time anyway, because, well, we were that old and crusty. Because although the internet was about, it was absolutely wank. But Columns is a really fun puzzle game where you just got to match the colours. It doesn't get super fancy, you can't change the shapes of them, it's just literally they come down in the one style vertically and you just got to swap around the colours. But it's just one of those games that sticks with me and is one of my favourite games on the Sega Mega Drive. Next up is Golden Axe. This game was also on that cart. You'll see a pattern going through this video. But Golden Axe is a favourite for many people. A few months ago, I did a Golden Axe retrospective on the games on the Sega Mega Drive, and I think the first game is definitely the better one, I suppose. I mean, the second one improved on the combat and stuff, but the first one is really... it's what I played the most of, and although it has aged a little bit wank in some areas in the gameplay, because it was of course designed initially to be an arcade game to kick your ass and rinse you of money, Golden Axe is still just a really cool game and a lot of fun to play, very, very nostalgic, and it's just a really great beat 'em up. It's not too long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. You can play as the 3 different characters, kick the crap out of little elf people in between the levels. What's not to love? And the magic spells, although obviously dated now, they were really awesome to do. But just like with Streets of Rage, I always accidentally kept pressing the wrong button and using up all my magic. Same with Streets of Rage, I kept pressing the button and using my special move. It's just a bane of my life. But Golden Axe obviously 100% makes this list. And of course, I mentioned it, Streets of Rage is up next in the number 8 position. Streets of Rage, number 1. I have played the second and third, but I spent most of my time with Street Fighter 1. All of these games I owned, and a lot of games on the Sega Mega Drive, because my parents didn't have a lot of money in the 90s whilst I was growing up, so I tended to borrow games off of friends or go around their house and play games. The intro music alone is just nostalgic. The fighting... it's just a really good franchise. Although it sort of kind of wavers in the third entry, Streets of Rage 4 is a massive return to form in my opinion. But Streets of Rage 1 is definitely, for me, the best of the original 3 games. And of course, one of the best beat-em-ups ever made. So it's 100% on the list. Next is Spider-Man. This was a Spider-Man game I had for a birthday in the early 90s, and it was very difficult for me back in the early 90s, and it's even difficult now playing it. But this, you play Spider-Man, it's obviously 2D action beat-em-up game where you can web swing around, you can use your camera to take photos to get money to buy more web fluid. That was pretty cool. It features a load of different villains throughout Spider-Man's catalogue, like there's Dr. Octopus, Electro, Venom, Kingpin. It's a really cool game. You can stop certain crimes in certain areas, and like I said, you can web up bad guys or just punch them. You can climb on all the walls that you can see, which is pretty cool, and web sling around. It's a really cool Spider-Man game, and one that, even though I could never really get past the Electro level, ever, I still think it's a really cool game and one of my favourite nostalgic Spider-Man games, and of course, makes the list. Up next is another puzzle game, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This game is, again, very nostalgic. I originally played it over a friend's house, a couple of friends actually, they owned it, and the music is just very nostalgic, a lot of the same as with all of these Sega Mega Drive games, and I think I figured out why. It's not just because they were there, it's because back then, there were no free games, there was no Fortnite, there was no Warzone, there was no free games, there was no streaming, there was nothing on demand. You had to buy all your games, and a lot of parents in the UK in the 90s just didn't have a lot of money to spend on video games for kids. And although, obviously, video games now are a shit ton more expensive than they should be, but back in the 90s, it was still a bit like games they were coming into their own. Through the late 80s and the 90s, gaming was becoming bigger and bigger, and it just didn't seem like we got a lot of games. Birthdays and Christmas was when we got games, and in between then, you just played the ever-loving shit out of everything you had. And I think that's why these games resonate so much with us older guard gamers, is because we spent so much time with them because we had no choice. It was that or nothing. But Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is just one of those games I spent a lot of time with, and unlike columns, with this one you can change, they can go horizontally or vertically, and you just got to match up 4 of the same color of beans to add on extra beans onto your enemy and just knock him out of the park. It's standard puzzle stuff, but it's got such a cool art style, and the music is so nostalgic and a lot of fun, and it's just a really cool puzzle game. Of course, people my age, I was the perfect age when the Power Rangers became absolutely huge in like 93, 94. And then, of course, with the movie in 1995, or 94, whichever year it was a big deal for us as kids. Everybody had the toys. And the Power Rangers, the movie game, was a game I spent a lot of time with a friend, and we used to play it all the time. It's got, obviously, cool killer soundtrack. It's got some pretty cool combos and fighting that you can perform. The art style's not too bad, and you obviously get to ride in the Megazords at a certain point. But it's just a really fun beat-em-up, and although not one of the best beat-em-ups, but because I love Power Rangers, and for me personally, there's not that many great Power Rangers games, this one was one that I did spend a ton of time with, and something that I still play now from time to time when I play backup copies of it on my Steam Deck or on my PC. It's just a lot of fun, and it's Power Rangers, man. Power Rangers is awesome. Up next is ToeJam and Earl Panic on Funkatron. Now this game I got on a birthday with birthday money, and I went into a video store similar to Blockbuster back in the day, but it wasn't Blockbuster, it was a known brand solo shop, and I found the ToeJam and Earl Panic on Funkatron in a bargain bin, and it was £10 I think, or £15, whatever it was, and I bought it and took it home and instantly fell in love with it and thought it was really cool and really fun. You're throwing jars at humans because you're trying to get them off a Funkatron, and you can dance to a boombox for some reason. It tells you what you need to do, but it doesn't tell you the buttons to do it, so you gotta kind of figure that one out yourself. But it's a really cool game with a lot of little hidden collectibles and things to find, and it's a really cool platformer. And again, I spent a ton of time playing this one, and why jars at humans, I don't know, but that's just the gameplay it was. But I never did play, and I still have never played the first ToeJam and Earl game. But this one, the second game, I hold this one very, very near and dear to my heart. Up next is Phantasy Star 4. Now this game was given to me by a friend in the mid-90s, not long before I got my PlayStation 1. So it was a very late play for me. I never played any of the other Phantasy Stars before it because I'd never had a Master System, so I didn't play the first game, and I never played the second and third game on the Mega Drive. But Phantasy Star 4 is a really good JRPG and probably the best JRPG on the Sega Mega Drive. The Mega Drive unfortunately doesn't have a ton of JRPGs, but Phantasy Star 4 is a really good one. It's got some good writing, obviously for the time, and it's got a decent length. The combat's pretty cool, similar to how Dragon Quest was back in the day, where you just see the monsters, but then when your characters do attack, they do appear on the screen, which is pretty cool. I just used to love going around, grinding up the levels, getting the money and getting the gear, and it's obviously a really cool futuristic fantasy-esque setting, so it's a really cool game. Even now, if you want to go on and check it out, you can get it on the Sega Mega Drive collection games that you can buy here, there, and everywhere. For some reason, it's been taken down on Steam. For some, I don't know if it's a licensing issue with Sega or not, I have no idea. But you can easily get backup copies of the game, but it's well worth playing because it's an important part of the JRPG back catalogue, in my opinion. It is a really good game. Coming up second is Comics Zone. This game is a badass beat-em-up side-scroller. This is where you play as a comic artist with some decent martial arts skills and a pet rat, and he gets sucked into his own comic book by the bad guy, and you just have to fight your way through the panels where it's just chock-a-block full of references and Easter eggs from all different franchises like Alien and whatnot. It's a really cool game. You can pull some pretty cool combos, you can utilize all different kinds of items, and it's a game that I played over and over again. Again, it's difficult, it's pretty savage. You get one life, and if you get savaged, you die, and that's it, you start from the beginning of the game. But it's still a damn good game, and I think up there with Streets of Rage as one of the best beat-em-ups on the Sega Mega Drive. And coming in at number 1 is obviously Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This is the game that came with my Sega Mega Drive 2. The first game I played on it, and I have played Sonic the Hedgehog 2 every year ever since 93, whenever it was that I got it. And I never get bored of it. I absolutely love the game, and I don't know what else more I can say about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You should know Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You should know about the Sonic games by now, I hope. I mean, he's had a trilogy of high-budget movies made recently, which are actually surprisingly good. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is, in my opinion, the best of the original Sonic the Hedgehogs. I absolutely hate 3. I hate Sonic the Hedgehog 3. The level designs are horrific. Sonic and Knuckles, better than 3, but still a bit wank here, there, and everywhere. It's really cool being able to play as Knuckles, and of course the Sonic and Knuckles cart with being able to play Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with Knuckles and stuff. That was all really cool. And Sonic the Hedgehog 1, it was obviously fine for its time, but I never played 1 before I played 2. But for me, 2 is where it's at, and I'm sticking with that. That is my that's my opinion. But please let me know in the comments down below what your top 10 games are on the Sega Mega Drive, and as always, thank you very much for watching.